Stamper fans! Nan Gerlitz here. Welcome to another Make It Monday. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I am here to help you connect with your people, whether that's getting together and crafting or just you crafting to send things to them. It's all about making and deepening those connections. So let's get to it. Let me switch my camera angle here. So we had a tie this weekend for Friday Night Stamping. These were our two cards. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you will know that this was Russ's card and this was my card. So we have had maybe a handful of ties in the entire time we've been doing Friday Night Stamping. But usually what happens is I'll check it Sunday night because the deadline's like 9 p.m. Sunday, right? And if we're tied, then I'll text our daughter, Kylie, and I'll say, hey, go vote for Friday Night Stamping. So she's like the tiebreaker. I never tell her who made which one or anything. She honestly votes for her favorite. But this time I didn't notice it until this morning, and I didn't want to bug her because I figured she's, got morning full of kids and all that kind of stuff. So we just let it be a tie, and that was fun. So we do love it when the vote is close, so a tie is even better, I guess. That means there's no loser, right? So we're going to say goodbye to Russ's card for the moment. Well, for the night, actually, because we're going to be making my card tonight. So also, little sneak peek here behind, I do want to remind you that from now until the end of July, this is 2024, in case you're watching this way in the future. If so, hi, flying cars around yet? But if you're watching this in July of 2024, you've got till the end of the month to take advantage of bonus days. And bonus days is basically for every $50 you purchase before shipping and tax, you will earn a $5 coupon to spend in August, next month. So super, super awesome. I've already taken advantage of it. I have a few coupon codes that I'll be using next month. So some really good, I'll give you maybe some ideas as we're going along, but this is a great deal, and you don't want to lose it. I mean, you're already going to buy craft supplies. You might as well get coupons for already buying craft supplies, right? So, another cute little thing I did want to share with you. We got some goodies. We went up to see Kylie and her fam on the 4th. And so Jeffrey, who is the oldest, made this for Papa and me because they live in Chicago. So you can see it's a cool skyline picture. And then he drew all these fireworks. And he drew those all by hand. I thought he used like a stencil or something because they're all so similar. Very, very cool. So to Papa and Graham, love it. So that was our first little fun thing. And then James had to get in on the action too, which is super fun. So I will show you his drawing first. I think it goes this way because I think it's a tornado. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's tornado. So really cool. But then he folded it up and took another piece of paper and he made his own envelope for it and drew a little Pikachu. Which I'm like, seriously, he made his own envelope, you guys. That's hilarious. Hey, Joan, so glad you could join me tonight or today as it is where you are. So yeah, those are our goodies from the boys last week. Absolutely love it. They love to get creative and they love reading. So they love music. 3 of things that we love as well. So that's nice. Okay, so this week I am using a new bundle. It's an online exclusive called Frosted Forest, and it comes with a stamp set and dies and masks, or as many of you might think of them, stencils. And I'm going to be showing you exactly how these work a little later on. So the card I am making tonight does not use the masks at all, but I do have some other examples at the end that do, and I'm going to give you a quick kind of overview on how those work too. So they're pretty awesome. As you can see, I got my glass mat studio this week, so I'm really happy. Hopefully that reflection of my ring light will not bother you. we're just going to work through it, right? So we've got a little Stampin' On My card, mostly dies. Let's get to it. All right, so I've got, oh, I'm so sorry. I have cardstock measurements, as always, are on a link in the video description, so you can find out the full supply list and all the cardstock measurements on that link. So you don't need to worry about writing furiously while I'm demonstrating. We're going to put that aside for a minute too. I've got basically a scrap of basic white. This started out as a 4 1/4 by, 5 1/4 by 4-inch piece, which is what normally we put on the front of our cards, right? And so I cut these trees out of it, and then I stamped the birds on the extra little piece. So I thought, well, I'll just use the leftovers to make my other card. So see, you can make like 2 cards out of 1. To start with, I put some adhesive sheet on the back of this already. It didn't go all the way to the top, and that's not a problem. But I forgot to do that when I was doing my trees Friday night, and it was a little bit of a booger getting the adhesive on there. I don't like that. So let's stamp our birds real quick, and then we will do some die cutting. So this is a photopolymer stamp set, which is nice because that means you can see through it, which means you can line things up, which you will see later is very important. There's my block. So I do love this little birdie. We are using basic gray ink tonight. And that's the only ink I used on this card. I'm just going to stamp a couple of birds up top here. And along with my Glass Mat Studio came this new chamois. So it's just like our Simply chamois, except you can see it's much thinner. So it's made to clean your mat with just water, but it'll also clean your stamps, just like the other chamois does. And again, you can see it's stained already from use. I just got it Friday, but I'm loving it. But yeah, you just rinse that out in water just like the other chamois until it's clean, and you're good to go to the next color, or not to the next color. You're good to go with your next project. That's what I meant. Okay, we'll put that away for a moment, and let's get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out. So I should probably raise you up a little bit so you can see. Oh, it's a little jerky. Sorry about that. All right, and we've got our bases. And then we've got that. Okay, my dies are over here. So our trees, you can see the dies. We've got a cool, like kind of an oak tree or whatever, right? And then we've got the branches in the trunk. We've also got, this will kind of be leaves in there. So if you cut that separately, we've got 2 different fir trees with their outlines as well. So you can do a lot of like 2-step stamping, except with dies. And then what I'm going to use tonight is this cool trees, and they've given you 2 of the birds. I love that when they have those kind of little pieces, and they'll give you multiples, because let's face it, we're not going to cut 1 bird, right? I mean, we might, but most likely not. So I'm just going to line these trees up with the bottom of our, there it is, of our cardstock, because I do want that to be the base. And then we'll do a couple of these birds at the same time. And I believe I've told you in the past, I'll try to show you on this. So you've got your bird there, right? Whoops, I am just bumbling tonight. There we go. Our dies are a little different than a lot of other dies you might see, in that the cut line is set back a little bit from the opening. So you do want to make sure you get that entire bird in there right up to the edge of the die. Instead of having white space all the way around it, even though after you're done cutting, it will have white space all the way around it. But I find it's easier to line up this way, that I know that, you know, the dies just have to be right up to the edge of the image, than to try and figure out the same distance around the image with the other kind of dies. So perfect. I love it when it works on camera. All right. So one of our birdies up there. Oh, that one moved. That was bad. I did a bad job taping that one down. So we'll have 2 birds on this card. I like to work in 3s, so you know darn well I'm going to fix that later. I'll fix it in post, as they say. And then we can pull our trees off of here. Normally, if I was just cutting these and I wasn't so particular about it being on the bottom of it, I wouldn't care about taping those down either. So this is a little thicker because it's got those adhesive sheets on the back. And what that does, oh, I forgot. It's not quite the length of my cardstock. So all I did was I took my snips and just continued that line on. Yes, what the adhesive sheets do is, so you stick them on the back of your cardstock, and then after you die cut it, you can peel that backing off, and it's basically a big sticker. So you don't have to worry about applying adhesive to all those fiddly little branches. And I will say, I will find this, and I should have run it through twice. On these really detailed dies, sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through the back of the adhesive sheet, but it does cut through the cardstock, and that's really the only part you're using anyway. So just trying to not tear any part of my tree. There we go. So you can see that's a bit of a mess because the adhesive backing came with it, but it's fine, it'll work, and you'll see that in a minute. It doesn't really matter what it looks like on there. Okay, let's save that for later so I can stamp another bird. Whoops. Except for I was actually trying to cut that one out, right? Silly me. So I said I was going to give you some ideas for your bonus days buying, and I would suggest, if you do not have a die cutting machine yet, this is a really good month to get one, because like with this one, you would earn 2 coupons right away, and you'd have your die cutting machine, and then next month you could use those 2 coupons on some dies or an embossing folder or something like that. So it's a really good idea to get that in there now. Another good idea on your bonus days purchases would be to stock up on adhesive and cardstock and all that other kind of stuff that you use all the time. It's just not glamorous and sexy to buy it, right? But you need it. When you go to make something, you want to have the right color cardstock. You want to have your adhesive, all that kind of stuff, right? Anybody see where I put my card? There it is. So it's a nice time to stock up on all that kind of stuff, and then you get a bonus, and then next month you can buy all the sexy fun things. So, okay, let's grab our blue. Now what we're going to do, before we actually attach anything, we are going to take our blending brush, and I have since added blending brushes to my order, my cart, because the next order I get, I'll have some more, because I realized I don't have one for white. And I would probably use white quite a bit, especially in the winter and Christmas time. So I took my brown black one, and I just made sure it was pretty clean. And then here's one of the cool things about the glass mat is you're going to use less ink than you normally would. So I'm literally going to tap that like once on my white, and I'm going to tap it off on the glass. And then I'm going to come around and do my little swooshy swooshy. And then I can pull it back off the glass mat. Now, if I was on paper, that would just be gone. It would be used, and that's that. And I can pull that little bit that I stamped off or that I popped off. And I can just keep pulling it from the mat and popping it around. Let's add a little bit more. And all I'm doing is trying to make this a little bit of a softer card, like maybe it's snowing or it's misty. So we've just got that kind of a little softening. Doesn't show up really great on camera. Maybe you can see it better on this one. There you go. So when you're done with that, you can take, normally I do like a microfiber cloth that I clean these on, but you can obviously use your chamois as well. And then what I'm going to do after I'm done, because I've never actually done this with my blending brushes, so it's about time. I'm going to take all these up to the sink and going to rinse them under cold water until it runs clear. They'll still be stained, but at least the excess ink will all be out of them. And then I'm going to just let them dry for 24 hours. So, all righty. The other great thing about this chamois and the glass mat is that when I'm done, I can just pick all that up with the wet chamois. And I can actually see the streaks just like drying almost instantaneously on this. It's really nice. So I can tell I'm going to like my glass mat a lot. I've only used it a little bit so far. So. All right, so we've got a little bit of softening there. Let's go ahead and attach those trees. So actually the nice thing about the fact that this didn't cut through all of the adhesive sheets is it should be easier to get them off. Just like that. We've got a couple of spots that I did not pull out. And get those out of there. And then we'll just pop that right along the bottom of our balmy blue. And now, here's my, so normally what I do is I take a clear block and I just kind of rub it, and that way I'm not pulling any of the edges, because those have those nice rounded edges, right? And this will get that adhesive stuck down really nice. And I don't have to worry about that. All righty. So we've got that. Let's put our couple of birds on here. We've got mini dimensionals. And I like to use my Take Your Pick tool with the mini dimensionals, because for one thing, it's hard to like pick them up, and like when you have a tiny thing like these birds, it's hard to get them right where you want. So if you grab it with the pokey tool, and I can get them right centered in those birds. And the pokey tool is also really good for tearing off those backings. That one was like practically off already. That's nice. All right, so we'll just have a couple of birds on this guy. And I'll come back later and add another one. Because that will bother me, you know that. Okay. Another thing we're going to do here is this one. Yeah, I wanted this to be a Thinking of You card, but the Thinking of You saying in this stamp set says, thinking of you and how you strengthen my life. That's a nice sentiment, but it's not what I wanted for this one. So the way I'm going to alter that, so we'll get this on a block. So you could take one of our Stampin' Write markers and just color the Thinking of You. I don't have the basic gray of the markers, so I'm going to take a little Post-it note here, and I'm going to mask off the bottom part. So all that's showing is the Thinking of You now. So now I can go ahead and take my ink pad right to that. Take the Post-it note off. That's very important. I've done it wrong before. And now the only part that's inked is the Thinking of You. And there you go. Perfect. Another nice thing about that glass mat is that it's a really good surface for stamping on too, because it has no give. It's a tempered glass, so it's really substantial, but it's not really heavy, which is nice. So you could take it if you like to go on crops and retreats and things like that. You could definitely take it with you. It comes with some plastic corner guards so that you can transport it easily. So there's that. And then we just have to attach it to our white base. it's a super simple card, which would make, like if you wanted this to be your Christmas card and it say Merry Christmas or Peace on Earth or whatever, it would be pretty simple to just die cut a bunch of these, right? And then kind of assembly line them. And there you go. I think I still had some brown on my brush there, so it's good that I'm going to rinse those out tonight because clearly they need it. And then, like I said, on my next order, I'll get some more blending brushes and I'll mark one of them for the white. So that won't happen again. But still, it's just a softer tone. It's snowy in LA where it's smoggy, right? So there you go. So super simple, as I said, and I do want to tell you some of the other, show you a couple of the other cards that I made. So one of them is this tree. So same kind of, same layout basically. I just made it a portrait instead of a landscape card. So we still have our 3 birds. We have a cool tree that I used just the masks to make, no stamping on that. And then I die cut it. And then I used the blending brushes to soften that edge again. And then I took the masks and the stamps for the fir trees and made this little beauty, again, with the blending brushes around the edges to soften that. And what I did here was I used 2 colors on the mask, and then I used Versamark and embossed it in white. You can see the white embossing there, the snowy on the trees. And then, actually, I think before I did the white, I can't remember now, but I did stamp it after I did the masking. So I'm going to show you that actually with this tree here. I'm going to do that again for you so you can kind of see how that comes together, because it's kind of hard to explain without showing you. I also did a couple of little samples of just the masks. So again, there's that tree and there's your fir trees. And this is 3 different colors of blue. So it's really fun, really easy way to do it. They make it super simple for you. So let's grab. Let's make sure this guy's pretty clean because he's got white in him now. I think we're okay. All right, so we've got our brown brush, we've got our green brush. I'm going to use 2 different colors of green and the brown, and we're going to go at it. So the masks that you get, it's 2 different sets, and each of them have 3 masks. So the green tree I'm doing has 3 of them, and they've got up in the corner here by the little notch. You can't really see it, but it says 1, 2, 3. You can also take a Sharpie to these on the corner and label them so that they're much easier to see. Or if you like the aesthetic being nice and clean, you can leave them that way. The fir trees have 3 as well, and they're labeled A, B, and C. So you know exactly which ones you're working with, right? It's pretty obvious, but just in case, they made it even easier. So let's grab just a little piece of white. And it's not open. Just gonna grab some Scotch tape and tape this guy down so he doesn't move. Because I know the adhesive will come right off of my glass mat, so that's nice. So there is a little notch in each of these, and that will show you where to line them up. So I'm also going to take a little Scotch tape and tape that down. And what I'm going to do, since I do have my glass mat, so if I didn't have my glass mat, I would probably draw a little pencil line on my paper or whatever, so I knew where that notch was. But since I have my glass mat and I know I can just wipe it right off, I am going to just do my blender brush right over there, and now I've got a little notch on there. Okay? So we'll take that, we'll dab it off a little bit. I'm actually going to do a pretty light blend on this because I'm going to stamp over it at the end, and I want to make sure that shows up. Okay, And there is our trunk, right? And our branches. So you can take your chamois to these and wipe them off, or what I actually am going to do, since I'm not going to use them again tonight especially, so I'll bring them upstairs with me and I will just run them under cool water, and because that's water ink, water-based ink, it'll just run right off. And I'll be all ready to go and I won't contaminate it with any other colors. Okay, so next we have our first thing of leaves. We're going to line that little notch up with my notch on the glass mat. Tape it down again. I'm going to take that little bit of ink off because I don't want brown on my trees. I guess they could be turning for the fall, right? I'm going to use Lemon Lime Twist as my base color. So you want to build from lightest to darkest on this particular one. We're going to take our green. The other nice thing about doing it that way is if you're using the same blending brush like I do for all your greens, if you're working lightest to darkest, I don't have to worry about cleaning this in between. I can go right to my darker green. So we'll tap that off a little bit and we'll just go, just working in circles. Grab some more of that. I did not use enough because I was on the white. When I tried to do the white yesterday, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of white. So the white is a craft ink. It's like a pigment-based ink. It's not water-based. So you will use a lot less white if you're using the white, just so you know. If you're using any of the water-based inks, again, it's always easier to add more than to take away any. So go slowly and just keep adding as you want. Oh my gosh, I mean, that's so pretty just by itself. I love it. All right, let's use that piece of tape. So now we've got our last one, and as you can see, this has just some more detailed bits to it. We're going to line it up with that notch again. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera really well, but as you're using it, you can see how it's lining up with the stuff below. So, all right, and then we're going to go to Granny Apple Green. Put that one out of the way. And we're going to go right over everything. The nice part too about just taping it at the top, like it's big enough I can hold it at the bottom, but then I can also just kind of hinge it up and go, is that enough? No, I definitely need more. So. I love that I am not making a mess out of my grid paper. I'm really going to love this glass mat because I'm going to go through not really a lot of grid paper anymore, right? All right. Hey, Lucia, what are you doing here? Are you guys having a break? All right. So there is, let me pull that up closer to the camera so you can see. There is our tree with pecan pie and then lemon lime twist and granny apple green. But wait, there's more. So now what I'm going to do is take my big tree stamp, and it is made to coordinate with this. Oh, I need a bigger block though. Hold on. Silly me. See, I always forget something. Okay, so the reason I did the pecan pie a little lighter is because I'm going to stamp this in pecan pie over it. Oh my gosh, you just had breakfast? It's like 7:30 at night over here. John's at a conference. That's why you're there. I was wondering if you were on vacation again, or, well, that's nice that you got to tag along. Okay, so we're going to take that tree, just lining it up as best I can here because I made a mess of that block. Now, oh my gosh, you guys, look at that. How pretty is that? I hadn't done that before. I love this. So I did get my trunk a little bit off, but oh my gosh, is that so pretty? And you didn't have to color, right? And look at all that shading. it's perfect. It's just all done for you, and it's gorgeous. Now, the other cool thing about this is that, so I've used the masks, and then I used the stamps, and then I could come in with my dies, and I could die cut that out with my dies as well. So absolutely perfect. You can use all three things together. You can use one or two. It's just so fabulous. And I am in love with this right here. I'm going to be making a lot of cards with this. I can tell already. We just got this set on Friday, so I really haven't had too much time to play with it. I did a little bit so I'd have some other things to show you guys tonight, but I even wowed myself there. So there we go. So hopefully I've given you some good tips. Hopefully if you have any questions about the glass mat, about this bundle with the masks and everything, just let me know. I'm here to help. That's totally, that's what I'm around for, right? So, but that's all I have for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining me. Let me come up here. Hi there, friends. So if you learned anything new, if you got some inspiration, if you got some tips, I'd love it if you'd share the video so that your friends and family can also get that inspiration, those tips that you've gotten, and everybody can have a great play together, right? So, all right, until next week, I am still Nan Gurlitz. Happy stamping.